Kaswa Zongo says General Legal Counsel should admit all the students again. Attorney General should know the constituency of MPP. For all you know, most of the 499 applicants are MPP. Let's be careful as a party in government. Prince Henry Koforidia says, good evening, class 505. Mr. Godfrey Dami didn't go through this heartache when he was pursuing to become a lawyer. So I don't know why he's trying to be rigid on the legitimate students who have duly passed their exam entrance. Their law entrance examination. We vote for people to solve problems, but same people tend to be our problems. The future is pregnant. Hashtag 505. Okorie Boy in Bremen Benin says, what at all will General Legal Counsel lose if they admit the 499 applicants? We shouldn't joke with the future of Ghanaian youth. Davisana says Barnabas has contradicted himself. How can the people be happy about government efforts to ameliorate the situation when he says they look forward to Friday when some concrete solutions will be experienced? Okay. Positive change in Medina says President Akufo-Addo and his vice are digitally primitive with the happenings in this country. Clearly, they need e-wisdom to understand the problems of this nation and the kind of hardship they have subjected us to. Okay. Good evening. It's criminal to increase fuel by this hard times. Mohammed Halidu from Garotimpani sending us that one. Justice Saifa who says, upon all our cries and pleadings to the government, they still continue to increase fuel prices each week. Nana Boromia government, please, the hardship is too much. And I'm sure that most of you yesterday were aware of the situation with regards to the stabbing of the student of Konogo Dumasi Senior High School. The education minister pledged that justice will be served. But the conversation has been the increase of indiscipline in our schools. And Francis Ahovi has joined us on the phone lines. He has some interesting perspectives. He believes that government has failed in that regard. He's joined us. Francis Ahovi, grateful for your time. So how has government failed with regards to indiscipline in our schools? Hello, Francis, can you hear me?
Hello? This is the wrong line. This is not Francis.
Well, we apologize for that. We'll be getting Francis Ahovi to join us on the phone lines shortly to tell us exactly what exactly is his position when it regards to the issue of indiscipline in our schools, and we'll get to do more on that. But let me tell you about former President John Dramani Mahama, because he's been touring the Greater Accra region and he spoke to the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs where he assured them that the current economic hardships will be a thing of the past should the NDC come to power after 2024.
The hardship is not easy, and we know the economy is in crisis. This government has been on a spending spree, borrowing spree. Today, debt is overwhelming us. We've never been in debt to this extent ever before in our lives. Even at the time we went HIPIC, our debt to GDP was not almost 80%. Today, we are almost 80% of debt to GDP, even with a rebased economy. And so the economy has been run into a ditch. And I know that in a few days' time, they would read the budget. And it's the intention of this government to increase taxes and increase, tariffs on electricity and water and all that. How much more hardship can the people of Ghana take? And so we, as the NDC, will play our part to give voice to the voiceless and to let the people in authority know what the people of Ghana are going through. And so we shall play our role properly as the opposition in this country.
So that's John Dramani Mahama when he met the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. Let's get back on the phone lines and speak to Francis Ahovi on our earlier story with regards to the issue of indiscipline in our schools. He believes that government is to be blamed. Francis, welcome to 505. Why should government be blamed for the indiscipline in our schools?
Yes, good evening, my brother Joshua, and good evening to all the workers of Class FM and our listeners. Yes, government need to be blamed in this instance because we could see that nobody can deny the fact that from the olden days as at now, there were no bullies in our institution, hence the secondary schools. But we could see that in building up our children, especially those who are the adolescent ones, from the 13 up to, the secondary age school going peoples. But when you leave these people to themselves, that nobody can control them. For instance, what am I trying to say? When you want to talk about education, we have some stakeholders. For instance, we have this PTA that we talk about. But today, the PTA has been relegated to the background where the teacher has no say. The parents also they have no say in building up our children. So when these people are left unto themselves, why or how come that they could not do whatever? When you are a child, there are some things that may try to push you doing some things, either good or bad. But you need somebody to tell you that, oh, my child, what you are doing is good or bad. But this time around, government for best reason no to them, which we have to not to circumlocate the issue. We need to go straight forward. That's because of votes. This our government will not allow the teachers to guide our peoples and also the parents. Now we could see that there's nothing called PTA in our educational sector. So if these things are happening, we need to what? Blame the government. I will continue to say, yesterday listening to the minister, he said that we should make sure that our rules work in our schools. Which kind of rules that he's talking about should work so that the indiscipline will be instilled in our children? Is he referring to the senior prefect of our secondary school to instill that rule in the students, or he's referring to the same teachers that they don't want them to say anything about our education?
But Francis, the schools have code of conduct, and for every school there are rules that apply with regards to the discipline code, and that's why there's the disciplinary committee, the DC, where when students fall foul of the laws, they are actually sent to. So is that not what he's reiterating, that we should allow those codes to work?
Yes, my brother. This disciplinary committee you are talking about is made up of what? Even parents are on that board or that committee. We have teachers on that committee. But here lies the case that government doesn't want or do not want teachers to be part of anything. The only role teachers could play today is to go to your classroom, make sure you finish your curriculum, but building the character, the attitude of the child, so that the child could fit into the society, especially in Africa setting here, whereby when you have given a birth or a student belong to the community. But these days you have gone to borrow a foreign culture whereby what does not fit here. It's like we are bringing a sheep into the channel shop. When you go to channel shop, what do you see? You see all those thin things. You have Milo and other things. Can the sheep graze on the Milo? No. It means that we have brought something that is foreign to us, so that you go by those things that we call it human rights and other things. We do not really measure it so that is it coterminous or is it equal to what we are doing here? No, it's not working. But because we just want people to say that we are doing something, whilst we are building what I call a dwindle education, I always say it, a crippled education, I always say it, that dismantle education that we have actually trying to build today. If we do not try to curtail that thing today, it will bring us more harm. Because the parent or the teacher has a more say, not only in the classroom, but also monitor. You know, a teacher is a doctor, a teacher is everything in the school. So if you want to take out that person out of the educational system or building up the child's behavior, I don't know where we are going to. We are afraid. So the government should not just give any order that we should go there and we should make sure that those code and conduct are followed. Who are going to be the people to make sure it is followed? The teachers are not there, or the class prefects should make sure that it's followed? No. We have to come back to the table that stipulates a proper governance. And the proper governance, what we are talking about, is that where all the stakeholders in education should come together and say, we are not saying that they should give that chance to the teachers to inflict hot pain or to punish people uncontrollably or do something to make sure to scare people out of the classroom of the school. No, we are saying that let us come back to that PTA. Let's come back to the stakeholders. You cannot be a minister and be in your office somewhere in Accra and try to decide for somebody who is in Torompai in the Western region or Mumuni in the Western region or come to Abloan or go to Asasewa in the Eastern region. No, we have to allow teachers also monitor our children and so that whatever is not going well, they will make sure that they are strengthened. But if you want to just people to see that, oh, we are doing something so that they can vote for us. Parents, I'm telling you, if you accept this kind of education, you are building a very dangerous and useless future for our children.
All right, Francis, this is a developing issue, and we'll definitely speak more on it in the coming days. But we're grateful for your time. That's Francis Ahovi, Executive Secretary for the Global Security and Research for Good Governance.